So you were speaking with Damien Duff yesterday?
I was.
Yeah, it's all part of the Keepy Uppy Challenge. Damien Duff is calling on members of the public to keep a ball in the air for as long as possible. This is the autism charity As I Am. Check out asiam.ie for the details. And you can also use the hashtag Keepy Uppy Challenge. They want you to share the video on social media, basically try and get people behind this campaign. To donate €4 to As I Am, you can text the word football to 50300. That's 5300 50300. Just text the word football and that will donate €4 to As I Am, the autism charity, and they want you to do the Keepy Uppy Challenge and use the hashtag Keepy Uppy Challenge.
All right, I'm delighted to say that Damien Duff now joins us on the show. A very good morning to you, Damien. How are things?
Good morning. Yeah, all good. Just away my holidays, getting burnt and getting fat. So that's about it, really.
Down in the south of France, I understand.
Down the south of France, and yeah, nice atmosphere down here after winning the World Cup. So yeah, all's good.
So it's, I presume it's just a country that's been taken over with jubilation over the past couple of weeks. Of course, like south of France would often be known as rugby country, but I presume it's a fully football country, or so it has been for the last few weeks.
Yeah, especially on final day. It's a quiet little town where I have, but bloody hell, it was mental on the day of the final. So yeah, it's well and truly took over, and I think it's got football back in people's hearts over here, because the last 6-8 years, I think people fell out of love with the team and the players and what like. So winning the World Cup has done it the world of good. Yeah,
absolutely. We're chatting to you today because you're promoting the Keepy Uppy Challenge. It's a native of the Irish autism charity As I Am, and I guess the whole aim around this is to increase awareness around autism, Damien.
Yeah, it's obviously through Adam Harris. Adam Harris is the CEO, and he's my wife's cousin. So he's a great guy, and he just asked me to help with the Keepy Uppy Challenge. And I'm not one for social media or anything like that, so I don't know how well it's doing, or I hope it's taken off anyway. But yeah, it's just, I guess, raising awareness. They're obviously involved. They're the sponsor of the Chelsea-Arsenal game next week, and just maybe helping people be more understanding about autism in Ireland.
Yeah. The Keepy Uppy Challenge, what is it? It's people sharing videos of doing as many Keepy Uppies as they can?
Literally, yeah. Whether you're good, bad, indifferent, you've never picked up a ball in your life, it's just record a video. You could do one kick up, you can do crazy, funny stuff, or listen, some people could do it literally all day. The young boy who launched it with me, Maliki, I think he does a bit of busking down on Grafton Street, making a lot of money, and you know, it could even be tricks. Watching him the other day was some of the stuff he was doing outrageous. I think As I Am, I posted a video of him. So no, it's interesting, and obviously with World Cup fever, I might get people out there posting some videos.
Yeah, absolutely. I did want to get your take quickly before we chat something else about the Liam Miller testimonial, obviously just on the topic of charity there. I mean, it's something that's garnered a lot of the conversation over the past couple of days. It's a strange one that clearly the right thing to do would be to open the Parky Queeve, and the rule book is being handed out as a reason why this can't be done. What's your take on the whole situation at the moment with that?
I think it's a disgrace. I think it's Gaelic people and whoever makes the decision saying rule books and they don't have their AGM till next February. It's a load of crap. It's archaic. You know, it's just dinosaurs making decisions. You know, a young man has passed away, left a young family behind, and all they're looking to do is play a game that will bring people together. Firstly, it'll be a lovely occasion, and will help Liam Miller's family. So I just find it absolutely disgraceful that they can't open the gates of their stadium for one day. So I think, I don't know, I don't read media or whatever. I'd like to think that's what everyone's feelings is on it, but I find it a disgrace, and it's just same old dinosaurs in GAA making the same old decisions.
Are you surprised by what's happened?
I am, my aunt. You know, you hear a lot about the GAA people. Yeah, I know they opened Croke Park for the senior internationals years back, but you know, it's absolutely ridiculous. Like I said, it's just a game of football, and that's all I can call them, dinosaurs. So I don't know, they're hinting now that they might open their doors. I don't know, it's PR wise, I think it's been awful for GAA, and rightly so.
But the thing is, it could have been such an easy PR win for them as well had they made the U-turn straight away.
Yeah. Oh, listen, even if they open the doors now and the game is played there, I still think they come out of it looking awful. So it's a lose-lose for them now, and it serves them right. So it makes my blood boil, and I can only imagine how everyone on the committee feels about it as well. So absolute disgrace, but not really surprised.
Well, hopefully we will have a U-turn at some point over the next couple of days. I just wanted to chat to you a little bit about the World Cup, Damien. Obviously, you were well immersed in it with RTE for the duration of it. And I guess the one feeling from an Irish perspective is when we watch this is we're always thinking, how would Ireland have got on? And we saw the easy side of the draw emerge quite significantly throughout the tournament. And you do wonder what level Ireland would have been at. Would they have been able to handle the level of the likes of Denmark and Sweden over the past couple of weeks?
Who knows? We obviously don't have the quality of the bigger nations. Sweden, like you can say, they don't really have one standout player. I think if you're going to go, what was it, Sebastian Larsson? He's had a good career in England, but he's no world beater. And they get to the quarterfinals, albeit swatted aside by England. So it just shows you if you've a good team spirit, camaraderie, and you're organised, you can go a long way. And to say how we would have done, listen, who knows? I think that's our level. When you saw what Denmark did to us, and the best team went through, and we weren't good enough to go to the World Cup. Full stop.
Yeah, the obvious comparison has been made with Croatia as well, just given sheer population numbers. Do you think that's a fair comparison, a fair objective for us to be aiming towards?
Yeah, why not? Like a lot of people always reference populations. Uruguay, I think, is 3.5-4 million as well. You learn all these. You start making these comparisons when you're working on the panel in RTE for the World Cup, and it is. I don't know what you start looking at. Is it grassroots coaching? But definitely, if you go off population-wise, how can Uruguay and Croatia produce these players, year in, year out, world stars, whereas it's just a struggle for us. So I think it definitely has to be referenced, and it definitely has to be looked at what Croatia and Uruguay are doing at underage level. Yeah,
what do you think the difference is there?
I don't know. Listen, I haven't done enough homework, I'd say, on Croatian underage football and Uruguay as well. The young boys in Uruguay, I don't know, do they have that? They have that hunger, that fight, just to, they do it just to be obsessed with having a career. Whether do we have it here? I don't know. I don't think we're producing players like we used to, and I don't want, I'm not talking about myself right there. You talk about your Keanes, your Bradys, your Giles, and I don't think we're doing that anymore. So why? I don't know. I'm not pointing finger at coaches or anything. I just don't think enough hours are spent really playing football anymore, which is just society now, and it's a different generation.
And that's just recreationally? You don't mean in terms of other sports being in too big competition with football?
I don't know. Well, Gaelic and rugby was always there. Obviously, there'll be a push now with inspiring people with the rugby team doing so well. But, that's all I did was, play football. I lived on the street. And, that's people are probably saying, oh, Duffer, feck off. Here we go again, talking about it. But, I didn't get coached when I was a kid. I just spent my whole childhood on the street. And you don't see that anymore. There's so many distractions, phones, PlayStations, etc. Whereas myself and my age group, I guess, Robbie, Richie, Shay, we didn't have any of that crap. We're probably lucky because they are addictive things, phones, PlayStation. So maybe if I did have them, I wouldn't have spent half the time on the street. And, the coaching you get now, that's just the icing on the cake. Foundations for any player is built on the street. You open any, world stars autobiography, football player, the opening chapter is they spent their whole childhood on the street playing football. So it's not rocket science. And that's what I'm always trying to relate to my players. But I don't think people grasp it.
Yeah, it's very true. How are you finding the coaching at the moment? How do you feel you're developing as a coach?
I'd like to think I'm getting better. If you love something and you're obsessed with something and you put hours into something, I think it's only natural that you get better. So I'd like to think I'm doing that, but it's not really for me to say. But yeah, I love it. I've become addicted to it, I guess. I just tried it just to keep busy after I retired, and also to see if I did like it, and I've ended up loving it. So yeah, it's keeping me out of trouble, I'd like to think.
What is the biggest advantage, like, I guess, when you compare actually working with kids to working with senior teams? Because I guess when you're coaching underage teams, you get to have a direct influence on kind of a very important thing in the development of a young person's life, where it's not all about winning matches. It's a very important part of their development as human beings.
Well, it is all about winning matches for me at that age of 15s. But yeah, I like to develop them on and off the pitch. If they're not going to be a good footballer and they're going to struggle with that, well, I'd like to think I've impacted maybe their life off the pitch in some way, just the manners, responsibility, standards, just as little as cleaning up after themselves, wearing the right kit, just being on time, stuff like that. So I just love the innocence of 15-year-olds. You know, if there is any hint of an ego, I can nip that in the bud. If I can't nip in the bud, they can just leave the club, whereas maybe at senior level, the ego is there, it's well ingrained, and you ain't changing that habit. So I love it, and I can't see myself going with first team players anytime soon, because I said 15-year-olds they're like sponges, and I've loved working with them.
That's very interesting on the ego point. Like, how do you control an ego like that in a young person? Is it conversations with them, or how do you do it?
I'd be very tough, I guess, but conversations, yeah. To be fair, I'm lucky. I like to meet players before I sign them anyway. So if there's any hints, I won't sign them. But listen, if you have an ego of 15, you'd be worried about their career. And listen, I've seen plenty already. And when I was involved with the Irish under 15s, like, you can see hints and smell of them. Young lads smelling themselves already. Like, it's not possible. So, it is possible because I saw it. So I just can never fathom it. I'd like to think I'm still the same 16-year-old that left for England 25 years ago. Whereas now you see some lads bowling around like they've had one hell of a career. So it's hard to fathom, but I just like to nip it in the bud and just be firm with them. Try to nip it in the bud.
Yeah. Like, on an individual day-to-day basis, when you're training them with an under-15 team, is it more kind of based on the individual skills at that point, or are the kids you're working with already extremely kind of capable in that area, and it is more like managing a senior team where it is tactics, it is fluency, it is kind of getting the team in a compact matter and setting them up well?
A bit of both, to be fair. I still think we're playing catch-up as a country technically, so I'm all about the ball for all our sessions. We train 5 times a week for 2 hours each session, and every session is just ball. So, yeah, we touch on tactics and the way we're going to set up, but that's literally just 1% of what we do. I'm just all about, the ball being more or less an extension of your body and just being so comfortable with it that you'll take it anywhere in the pitch, which, again, I don't think we see at senior level. So I'm maybe, I guess, trying to start it now where we might benefit in years to come at senior level.
And when you're having those conversations, is it more from your own playing days, your experiences from that, or has there been a process of kind of learning from other coaches, perhaps? Like, is it the player Damien Duff that you've learned from, or is it the coaches you played under?
Both. Like, I guess all the sessions I would deliver to the lads would be from what I've learned over the years with whatever Mourinho, Hodgson, Kenny Dalglish, Alan Irvine. I've took all their sessions and that's what I deliver. And yeah, the bit about me was, all I did was ball. Even lads now are mad on gym and lifting dumbbells and looking good. So I didn't lift a dumbbell till I was in my mid-20s. So, to me, listen, I know you have to do it, but an hour with a ball or an hour with a dumbbell, I think an hour with the ball is going to benefit a 15 more because, like I said, they don't do enough. So I just want them to be comfortable with the ball, and a lot of Irish players, even at senior level, it just looks like it's a battle to me. So I'm trying to put it right, I guess.
And in terms of, I know we mentioned your coaching development at the start of the section, but in terms of feedback about your own coaching, is there somebody kind of helping you through that at all to have conversations with you about how well you're doing as a coach? Like, I mean, is it just from your own feel about results and all that, that's how you're gauging your success at the moment? Or is there a process in place, maybe from the FAI or maybe below the FAI, to say that we can create and mould Damien Duff into the next top level coach?
Yeah, well, I guess when you go on your coaching badges, I'm doing one now, you get assessed and told whether you're doing things good or bad or indifferent. But one thing I've learned, I guess, with the FAI is they're big on self-assessment. So, I'm not stupid. I've been around the block after a training session or after a game. I'll driving home. I'll, assess what I done well, what I could do better, what I did bad, and etc. So, FAI can help you with the badges, etc. But I just think the best learning is just going, taking your own team and making your own mistakes and just going from there. So, I just like to assess myself. I'm my biggest critic, and I always have been.
When you're having those kind of internal conversations when you're driving home, what are the themes that constantly pop up? What are you good at? What are you bad at?
I think my language could be a bit better with the kids. I get a bit colourful at times. I know they're only 15, but maybe get too emotional. But again, I don't know. It's when you're obsessed with something, it's hard to take the emotion out of it. So, so maybe just being a bit calmer. But like I said, if I was trying to be someone I'm not, maybe I'd be a different coach. So I'm, trying to be calmer on the touchline, but I can't be. I am who I am.
Mm-hmm. Just a final point there. You said a couple of moments ago that you don't have any interest in getting involved with the first team for the time being. Like when you look at the likes of Lampard and Gerrard going straight into relatively high-profile jobs straight away, do you look at your own situation and say, I'm very happy that I went through this route at the start to try and learn a bit more before making that step up? But that being said, you might not have any interest one day in making that step up. Who knows?
Listen, one day possibly, yeah. But I'm just taking baby steps at the minute. I just feel like I'm learning the game all over again. So fair play to Lamps and Stevie G, but it's totally different being on the touchline. When as a player you think you know it all, and then you step back and you're a coach and you realise you're just starting to learn all over again. So I'd rather learn all over again with 15-year-olds rather than with a first team and 40,000 people telling you what you're doing wrong. So I think the way I've done it is correct, and you can say there's no pressure on it, but I put all the pressure in the world on myself, even though it's an under 15 game. So that's the way I've decided to go, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
Well, listen, very, very best of luck with the next stage in your development as a coach, Damien. Good to chat to you. Thanks a million for taking the call.
Cheers. God bless. Thank you very much.
Yeah, pretty strong stuff from Damien Duff on a bunch of things there, in particular the notion of Páirc Uí Chaoimh being open. You can read a bit more about that on offtheball.com. In the meantime, though, we should talk about the other thing about the egotistical 15-year-olds smelling themselves.
Good old use of local language there, which I hadn't been aware of. I mean, like, did you smell yourself when you were 15?
I mean, there would have been a lot of links.
There was a lot of links, not a lot of ego.
Like the bit about the egos is really interesting, right? Because he's obviously working. Rovers have pumped a huge amount of money into their underage structure, so they're working with some of the best players in the country, and they're going to increasingly work with the best players in the country, particularly at that age group, as the national leagues filter down the age profiles and the schoolboy clubs all become amalgamated into League of Ireland clubs. If that continues the way it's happening, like having somebody like Duffer involved at that level, injected into the training sessions, making sure that kids are playing with balls as opposed to the dumbbells for an hour, and having him go, I was pretty good at football, you're not that good, and if you want to not play, or if you want to have that ego here, off you go. I mean, that would be brilliant. Yeah, for sure. Like, we talk about having the belief as an Irish playing population that we're actually good enough to pass the ball around, but it's great to hear a coach with a bit of belief there, that Damien Duff clearly realises that he's got the ability to mould these players into great players, because he's seen there, he's played at the very, very top level, and that's really important. And I do wonder, like, how are coaches like Damien Duff being moulded? Like, how do you make the next great Irish manager? Is it purely from chance? Because that seems to be how a lot of things happen in management, where you mess up once and then you're viewed as a failure and that's it, or you get lucky because your first job was a success and then suddenly your reputation is sky high. Like, it's a reputation economy being a manager, and you'd wonder if there was like a little bit more could be done with some of the young coaches. It's obviously quite expensive in Ireland to get your coaching badges and all that sort of stuff. It's like 4 times more expensive than it is in the likes of Germany and Spain and or the North. That's why a lot of people go to Belfast to do it.
Yeah, so like more can be done there. It's hard to know from that conversation where like he's being guided to but I think he's guiding himself along pretty well. I think he's learning a lot, and he's obviously very content with where he's at in his current coaching career.
Yeah, and taking his time, I think, is the other thing.